Hello and welcome. We are Bleeding Treat Gaming. My name's Amy, aka Warpfiend, and I'm joined by...
I am the very loyalist, honest Tammy, aka the Autumn Witch.
And today we're talking about everyone's favourite questionable loyalists, the Dark Angels.
Absolute loyalists, I think you'll find.
Yes. Their loyalty cannot be questioned.
No, it must not be questioned.
As usual, we're going to cover a brief bit of lore and info about the army, and then we're going to dive into the range review. Now, there's a bunch of new stuff that's going on pre-order soon, so we're going to look at that as well.
You say soon. When this goes out, it's going on pre-order tomorrow.
Yes,
so this is pretty much peak Dark Angel range.
Yes,
where there's new stuff coming, but there's still older stuff that may get discontinued very soon, but it's still in the range. So, yeah.
So we'll get to catch everything.
Yeah.
Anyway, without any further ado, let's jump into the lore then. The Dark Angels were the first legion of the Astartes to be created and were always amongst the highest honoured of the Space Marines, with a battle style drawn from their knightly roots on their homeworld of Caliban. Their Primarch, Lionel Johnson, was renowned even amongst his brother Primarchs for his martial prowess. However, during the Horus Heresy, a faction of them fell to chaos. Now they and their successor chapters hunt down these fallen brothers, seeking to redeem themselves. The chapter and its successors are now known as the Unforgiven. They do not follow the Codex Astartes to the letter, and their first two companies are the almost all Terminator-clad Deathwing and the fast and zoomy Ravenwing, who are all mounted on bikes, speeders, and other fast vehicles. With the recent return of their Primarch, Lionel Johnson, they take their place as among the most feared of the God Emperor's angels. So that's the Dark Angels. Dubious loyalty.
No. Unquestioning loyalty.
They are the grimdark gothiest of the grimdark gothic. They focus on fast attack, elite options, and Terminator assaults. Unhealthy, or totally healthy love of plasma weapons, cowls, and big swords.
Oh, yes.
So that's the Dark Angels. That's who they are. Now let's look at the models. Okay, here we can see the range, and obviously Lionel Johnson at the top here. We're going to get to him in a bit. As you can see, there's 103 items here, but a lot of these are shared with the Space Marines. So if you want to know more about the generic Space Marine stuff, go watch our video on them.
Yes, and we also did an update video on that as well, about the new stuff. Now, interesting thing about the regular Space Marine range and Dark Angels is that from this edition, the Dark Angels could take pretty much any unit that a normal Codex chapter could take. Up until 10th edition, there were rules. They couldn't take Vanguard veterans or Stern Guard veterans. They had company veterans instead. They had like different units that replace other Space Marine units. But now all those units, and you can basically pick and choose any non-chapter specific kit from the Space Marine range, and that can be your Dark Angels. Unless, of course, the new Codex says absolutely differently, and they were just hoping to sell a lot of Vanguard veterans and Stern Guard veterans to Dark Angels players over the last few months before discontinuing them. And you know what? I wouldn't put it past them.
Well, it does very much seem they're just trying to move everyone onto Primaris stuff in general.
Yeah.
But if we move straight on to the stuff that is coming out soon, we can see, obviously, you have the Codex supplement for them, which I assume means you need the Space Marines Codex to use it.
Of course. Because when you're playing non-Codex compliant chapters, you've got to double dip in the Codexes, maybe twice per edition, even.
Oh yes, definitely, it has been known.
Yeah.
So we have Asmodai, which is replacing an old model that was not on the store anymore, I don't know how long that had been gone for, whether they dropped it when they announced this.
Well, last time I looked specifically on Dark Angels before this video, I believe Asmodai was still on there. And I think this is Asmodai's third model.
Okay. He definitely wasn't on there, but I do remember the second edition model of him.
That was the first one. I mean, we'll come to possibly the oldest model in the Space Marine range at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah. But yeah, it's good. You can see what they're trying to do with the smoke, but I don't think I think a lot of people are going to be building it without.
Yeah, I always said it looks like the backpacker sneezed.
That's fair. That's fair. So we have Asmodai's one of the new characters. The other one is Belial.
Belial, who looks so much like my old German teacher.
Now, GW still have this on the web store, but it's temporarily out of stock, and I can't imagine they're going to be restocking this.
They will not be restocking. I mean, this model here, from the waist up, looks great, but from the waist down, no.
Very tiny legs. There's a very skinny legs for a Terminator. It looks like he'd just fall over under his own weight.
Yeah.
Especially with that big slab of marble up there.
Yeah. Yeah, he needed longer, chunkier legs. I mean, if you look at the size of his arms, now this is great. This is a great model. I do miss the back banner.
Yes, that's fair. It is like a more discreet one here, and this one is very over the top. Like I said, it's just a piece of marble that he's carrying around, so it's weighs a ton.
My version of Belial that I have is one that I kit bashed from various other kits with a 3D printed banner, and it works better than the old one did. So yeah.
So I mean, other than the characters, you also get the Inner Circle companions coming out, which are they're basically kind of like elite bodyguards that are kind of heavily hinted to be the fallen that have been forgiven by the Lion.
Yeah, they look to have the same sort of role as Blade Guard veterans do in the regular codex, but these look way cooler because...
Yeah, it's nice that they give you both options. Maybe eventually they'll cut them down to just these.
Maybe, but I can't see them doing that. It's Games Workshop. They want you to buy as much, especially Space Marines.
But then they want the people who have bought the other thing to then have to go, I can't use that. I've got to go out and buy these Inner Circle companions instead.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah.
The new Deathwing Knights. Now we're going to come to the other ones soon. In fact, let's have a look now. I believe we've got these are the Deathwing Knights squad.
Yeah. Now this kit makes Deathwing Knights, regular Deathwing Terminators, and a Terminator command and a Deathwing command squad. So this is like a 3 units in one. Okay,
so this is this one and I believe it's this one.
Yeah.
That's all the same kit.
That's all the same kit. It's a fantastic kit. I'm going to talk about upgrade options in a bit, but keep this old kit in mind because
there's no signs of this one going out off sale yet, which is pretty good for your options, even though they are obviously slightly older generation of Terminators, not quite where the new ones are.
Yeah,
but still perfectly usable.
My 3,000 point Deathwing army is made up of these boys, and I am perfectly happy with it.
That's fair. That's completely fair.
Okay, right. So this kit is essentially just to make Deathwing Knights. Deathwing Knights now have their default melee weapon seems to be power swords, with the option to do the Maces of Absolution.
These are these ones here.
Yeah. Whereas the Maces of Absolution were like the only weapons that a Deathwing Knight could take. And the squad leader would have like a flail, which was
which one's the Deathwing Knights? Yes, the big flail thing.
Yeah, it has this cool rule at the moment where the damage it inflicts carries over into other models. So if one of the attacks kills a model and there's still 2 damage left on it, that damage gets carried over. So yeah, it's I like that. I like that a lot. It's I mean, I like these old models. Let's go back to the new stuff and we'll talk about these in a bit. But yeah, so the Deathwing Knights, they are, I mean, you could mash them up with a the new like basic Terminator kit and make them into more Deathwing oriented Terminators.
They do seem to have gone for a more of a kind of realism thing on this one, and not the over the top like kind of not on that one, but on some of them you have like those, and I guess like
I like those. I mean they're
part of what the army is for a lot of people. So I think they've got those on I think Azrael had them to some degree, but we'll have a look in a minute anyway. Let's move on because there's a lot of stuff to cover here. So you also have the upgrades and transfer kit.
Yeah, I mean, at first sight, I'd say this is a decent upgrade kit. But Dark Angels are rather blessed with upgrade kits at the moment. So, yeah.
Yes, I've got a couple more to look at coming up.
Yeah, but it's got pads for 5 Deathwing Terminators. It's got pads for like a couple of squads of Gravis Marines, enough for 5 Phobos armor, enough for I think like to do like 10 regular like Tacticus shoulder pads. So yeah, I mean, if you're getting an army, you're gonna need a couple of these.
They do seem really handy for all your generic Primaris stuff that you just need to like snazz up a little bit. And you get, now if I'm mistaken, you only get the one of the Ravenwing bike things per pack. So if you want some Ravenwing bikers,
if you want some Ravenwing bikers, there's an upgrade sprue coming up with that. So yeah, I gotta say, I do love that sheet of transfers.
Yeah, there's some cool ones on here, lots of different designs.
Yeah, I mean, we're going back to like Rogue Trader in the style, like proper
yeah, I can see that.
Old school, because you know, I mean, I've got a load of old transfer sheets from that era that are buggered and won't work, but the designs on them are so cool. They look almost hand painted.
Yeah, they look very cool.
Yeah.
Right. One last thing on the new stuff, and that is the Combat Patrol. And I want to compare that to the current Combat Patrol, which is sold out and probably will not be restocking.
No, now, the old one is rubbish, and the new one is also rubbish.
Yeah, well, the old one we talked about in our video on all the Combat Patrols, the Space Marine ones. And yeah, the only thing that really makes this one Dark Angels is the plasma on the Dreadnought.
Yeah, I mean, you can build the Inceptors as the plasma version as well, but I mean, it's disappointing. It's got that a really sort of lackluster chaplain.
Yeah, there just seems so few models there.
5 intercessors. Yeah, it's. I mean, intercessors are basically there to fill up space, really, in these boxes. So let's have a look at the new one, which has twice as many intercessors. Now, I think that between the boxes, they could have something really cool. They could ditch the intercessors from the first one and replace them with the Hellblasters from this one, and then replace the Dreadnought with the Blade Guard and the. Now the problem with this one is it's not a bad kit, but I mean, Games Workshop.
It would be nice if they put at least one of the new kits in there. Just one of them.
It would have been nice if the captain in the unit could actually be attached to at least one of the squads in the box. Now, Games Workshop, their argument is, well, it's for playing games of Combat Patrol. It's not an army starter box, which is bollocks because most people will be using this as an army starter box or as a buffing up a few units that you've already got box. And there is nothing in here that makes it Dark Angels except for the upgrade sprue, and it's not the new upgrade sprue. It's the Primaris upgrade sprue, which is the worst. Which is the worst of the Dark Angels upgrade sprues. So, I mean,
yeah, it's not particularly great, and I wouldn't say it's a particularly great place to start.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to just bulk up your infantry in any Space Marine army you've got whatsoever, because it doesn't really matter, this would make a perfectly reasonable addition to an Ultramarines army, or an Imperial Fists army, or a Blood Angels army, or Iron Hands, or whatever. And it's the same. It's like we saw when we did the Combat Patrol series, that the Space Wolves and the Blood Angels and the Death Watch are all just really. You're right. You're sort of making noises.
I'm just readjusting my microphone.
Ah, okay, that'll be it. But yeah, it's essentially. Don't look at the Combat Patrols if you want a Dark Angels or a Blood Angels or a Space Wolves or a Death Watch army. Look at them as varying options of Ultramarines, because that's basically what they are.
Well, we've talked for a long time about the new stuff that's coming out. Let's crack through some of the other stuff, otherwise we're going to be here all day.
Yeah.
And next we have Lionel Johnson, obviously, the big model.
The big boy, yeah.
Been out almost a year now, I'd say. It was early last year he came out, before the release of 10th edition.
Yeah, I mean, he's only really been like readily available. Because he was in like a set with a load of Deathwing Terminators, which are now the old Deathwing Terminators, but were clearly good enough at the time to complement the Lion. So yeah, but he's been out on general sale for quite some time now, and he is fantastic. And I want to get him, maybe sort of run him alternately with my because I've got a Spartan for the Deathwing, but because that's Legends, I might sort of swap him out a bit and just have him leading my my Deathwing. I fully intend to get this one.
Yeah, he's a very cool model. I've seen a lot of fantastic interpretations of this one, because it's just such a classic sculpt, and I think they've learned a lot of lessons after the Guilliman one, and I think they've tidied up the trim a little. Whereas Guilliman can get away with all the fancy trim because he is like the poster boy, whereas the Lion's a bit darker. He can go a bit more functional.
What Guilliman was missing model-wise was a cloak.
Yes.
They seem to be
here really works.
Yeah, they seem to be skimping on the cloaks now.
Yeah, so that's the Lion. He's your big model. Obviously, Azrael is the Supreme Grandmaster, and he recently got a model. Now, I believe this was in 9th edition. It might have been earlier.
Yeah, we got like the first few bits of the new Dark Angels sort of towards the end of 9th edition.
Yes, that was right. Yeah, because it was fairly soon, around the time of the Lion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is fantastic. I mean, this is just like the classic Dark Angels model, really. I think this is one of the better early Primarisification of characters.
Yeah, because it is essentially the original Azrael model, and it's been the original Azrael model for Azrael for about 30 years. So yeah, we're kind of but this is very much basically an upscaling and a revamp. They didn't go like crazy with the with new details and stuff. They just like doubled down on like the artwork for Azrael.
I think just like his paint job and just like the detail around the face is just absolutely stunning on this one.
Yeah.
So moving on, we also have Master Lazarus, which was I believe this was the first wave of the Primaris characters, and
Yeah.
it's a little more generic, but you can see obviously he's got the helmet, wings, and that. I thought there was an option on this one to put him with the helmet on, but maybe not. Oh yeah, his helmet hasn't got the wings. That was it.
Yeah.
It was
Well, that's ridiculous. If you're gonna have wings on your hat, but yeah, I mean the guy looks like Brock Lesnar. Like,
yeah, this is
human tank. Now, from what I gather, the rules for this guy in game aren't that good, but he's he's a serviceable looking model. You could run him as like a generic captain if you don't like the rules.
Fair enough.
Maybe do some converting and get those wings on his helmet and he can wear it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's easily possible.
But yeah, he's Brock Lesnar in power armor. So, yeah.
Right, so moving on, Samael, and this is an old one. Now this is Finecast.
This is Finecast, but it was originally a metal one. I know that because in a job lot that I've got like the metal version of his torso somewhere. But yeah, so this is a Finecast model, and I believe it is old Finecast model.
Yeah, now jet bikes, that's not really something they've approached yet with the Primaris stuff.
Obviously, I'm sure they will. I mean, Samael's bike is meant to be like one of the last hover bikes or jet bikes in existence in the Imperium. It's a relic from the Horus Heresy. So
yeah, I think they could redesign this slightly more in kind of keeping with the Heresy ones that we have, and find like a middle ground for it. That would be cool.
I mean, I'm sure a kit bash is doable, but 35 quid for this, and then grabbing one of the a box of the
yeah. I mean, Heresy resins are more reliable than the Finecast ones, so maybe you want to pick up one of those. In fact, are they remaking the jet bikes in plastic? I think they've said
they have done. They have done. They've come out, but they don't look anything like this. So yeah, I mean, you could do a proper kit. I say kit mash with it, basically. But yeah, this is Finecast and it's old Finecast, and you may want to wait and see.
Yeah. I'd say conversion myself. I'd be fine with using the old Heresy stuff, but
yeah,
there we go. So. You have the Primaris Lieutenant Zachariah, and I don't even know when this one came out.
This I think was like the token effort to appease the non-codex chapter folks when Primaris first came out, because this was like first few months of 8th edition. That this one, and then there was a Blood Angels one called Toberon or Tomeron or something, and then there was a Space Force Lieutenant as well, which you can still get in like the Combat Patrol.
This one's sold out online at the minute, so whether they're going to restock this with the new stuff, I don't know.
He is essentially a generic lieutenant, but they've given him a name to make him seem a bit more important, but it was just one of the 18,000 Space Marine lieutenants that they were putting out between the beginning of 8th and sort of halfway through 9th.
True, yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got two more characters to get through. The Dark Angels Interrogator Chaplain.
Love this model. It's the first one.
That's a plastic kit, but it's a bit older.
Yeah, but it's not that old. It's
not that old.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I want to get my hands on this model at some point, even though my Dark Angels are basically all Deathwing. There are some Dark Angels models I just want to get my hands on to paint, and this is one of them.
Yeah, it's very cool. And I mean, Dark Angels chaplains, obviously with the interrogator thing, obviously they have Fallen on the Rock that they have to interrogate and all these different prisoners and that. So it's a specific role, and they haven't done a Primaris version yet.
I mean, but I'm hoping that there are rules for interrogator chaplains in the codex, because they were completely cut out in the indexes.
It would be nice if they had their own thing.
Yeah, this mini wipes the floor with the generic chaplain.
Yes, it's very cool.
He's on a 32mm base. I think if you put him on a 40mm base and built up the base a little bit with some more rocks,
be fine.
He would fit perfectly within any army and look so much better.
Yeah, so there's this one. I believe this one's from way earlier. This is
I think that's like
a Finecast one.
Yeah. I mean, same again. The model looks great. It is Finecast. Model looks great, but it is Finecast. But 40mm base, because that's what ancient stand on. Build up some rocks and stuff. Yeah, this will work.
Now, my memory is a bit lax on this, but if I remember right, the Dark Imperium set, Dark Vengeance set, had a chapter ancient in it.
No, it didn't.
Didn't? No.
It had
this is captain, the closest there is.
Yeah, it had a captain and a librarian. Then a tactical squad, 5 Deathwing Terminators, and 3 Ravenwing bikes.
Ah, okay, yes.
Geeky encyclopedic knowledge for the win.
But I mean, yeah, this is showing its age a lot. I think
it is.
There's better options for an ancient, and you can also get the Dark Angels banners from some of the other kits as well.
Yeah. Now, I will say though that covering up most of an old mini in robes, it does hide a fair few flaws.
Yeah, I'll say that, but the face looks a bit goofy in there.
Yeah, well, it's Finecast. I mean, you could probably scoop that out without even trying and stick a better one in. But yeah, I mean, just for the banner alone, though.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, we covered all the characters there.
Yeah.
The Deathwing we ended up talking about earlier. So let's have a look at what the options are for Ravenwing. Now we have the Ravenwing bike squadrons.
Now this is another kit that has different build options, I do believe. So
yes, the other option being the Black Knights, I think.
Yeah, and the Ravenwing Command Squad.
And the Oh no, that's the Dark.
I think the Black Knights might be the Ravenwing Command Squad.
I think they might be. I can't see it. I might not have loaded it up properly, but those are the two options that I see right here. And obviously they're based on the old bike kits. They're showing their age quite a lot, but they're serviceable and they've got a lot more flavour than the one fin that you get in the new Primaris upgrade set.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you just change them up to the new size biker bases. I mean, because I've got like a squad of these ready to. Actually, I've got 2 squads of these from the Dark Vengeance set.
I love this new website, by the way.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna say it's the absolute bollocks, so then you can remove absolute.
It's now not letting me click on anything else. Now I've gone on there.
You can remove the.
Okay. Well, that's the Ravenwing. You have those options, and then I mean, there's also the Ravenwing Dark Shroud here.
I think this is the most absurd, and not in a.
I love this. Yeah.
Not in a cool 40k way. I'm afraid that cupola at the front with the Space Marine sitting in it.
Yeah.
Looks now. It wouldn't look quite so bad if it wasn't a Space Marine in there, like have a Watcher in the dark manning the Heavy Bolter. That would be quirky and weird and 40k.
Space Marine with tiny little legs.
Yeah, or a Servitor or something. It just looks ridiculous that there's this massive Space Marine squished into this little off-balanced cup holder.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the kind of semi-religious details of it, but it's not quite as well designed as some of the, for instance, the Sisters of Battle have done that more effectively.
I mean, there's too much drag on the top. You know, they hit the accelerator, that thing's going to flip over. Even if the Angels at the top were 90 degrees facing forward, that would be a massive improvement. And that's an improvement that can. Hang on, sorry, drop my microphone. That's an improvement that can be made to the model itself. But it's just a ridiculous dude with a Heavy Bolter in the cup holder.
Yes. I like that. Well, I'm a fan of this just in how wacky it is, but I can see why people would not like it.
I mean,
it's also £45, which is quite expensive for an older kit.
Yeah, you might as well get I'm sure we'll see them soon, the Ravenwing upgrade kit, and get one of the Storm Speeders and proxy it, because the rules, as I understand, are quite good for this, but the model is just...
So there was one more unique unit, and this is the company veterans.
Oh, yes.
You mentioned these, and these are also quite old models.
Yeah.
I believe they're plastic, but yeah, they're older plastics.
They are older plastic. Now, there was an article on the Warhammer community page where they were showcasing someone's fallen army, and they talked about how they used bits from this kit, and they said that while this kit isn't supported in the new rules, the kit is still available, which makes me think that they're keeping this around, because this is the first of the Dark Angels secret upgrade kits.
Okay.
Because, you get the 5 dudes in robes. They're firstborn and they're the old scale, but you get so many different, very Dark Angels themed bits, like loads of different heads. You've got shields, you've got weapons. I mean, look at the bolt guns, look at the icons.
I can see loads of.
And there's a load of stuff on here that isn't actually shown, and you can't get a look at the sprues on here, which is unfortunate. But if you can Google them and have a look at what's in it, you'll see that there's a lot there.
That's interesting.
There's even like parts in there solely for Deathwing Terminators.
Because if you hadn't have said that, I would have said, well, why not get... If you're going to get this, why not just get the new Space Marine veterans and a Dark Angels upgrade kit? Because you could achieve much the same. But if this is
this is the upgrade kit that you need. I mean, you've got the guys. I mean, you could use them for Heresy. You could use them for something. You could even just use them for testing color schemes on, if you don't like the old scale. But the actual weapons, the icons, the accessories, I mean, it's got like a Deathwing themed storm shield, like a Deathwing themed assault cannon, which you can't get in the new upgrade kit. It's got like various different like hand-to-hand weapons and such. It's a great kit. And if you're using it,
get it if you can for $22.50, then
because I guarantee that the brand shiny new spanking upgrade kit is not going to be as cheap as £22.50. So
Well, we'll keep looking anyway. Let's move on to the vehicles. So you have
the
Nephilim jet fighter. This is a very cool, very Dark Angels vehicle.
This and the Black Star from Deathwatch. I think these are my favourite two Space Marine flyers. Absolutely
very cool.
Love them.
And I love the wings, which is a common theme on like Imperial flyers, but just like the kind of design of it here is generally very cool.
Yeah, I would be tempted to grab one of these. I mean, it's £50, so I wouldn't go to Games Workshop to buy it, but I'm at some point, if I can see one at a good price. I mean, there's 2 build options for it, isn't there?
So this is the other build, the Ravenwing Dark Talon.
Yeah, I mean, I love this one. I mean, I love that kit, but this one, this is more my...
Yeah, it's got all the kind of religious iconography on it, stuff like that. It looks a lot fancier.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going for that.
Yeah.
At some point, but...
It's a very cool model.
It is.
And also there's... the other build of the...
Don't show me that. Don't click from the really beautiful one to what basically looks like somebody dropped their entire bits box into a tub of glue. Okay,
so upgrades then. There's 2 Primaris ones, because this is the initial one that came out that was a bit lackluster, but they were just, a single frame to tide people over until there was something more.
It's £10 for one frame, which is the same as with the Ultramarines, the Blood Angels, and the Space Wolves, whereas like the White Scars and the Raven Guard and all that, they get, for £17, in their upgrades frame 2 sprues and 2 sets of specific transfers.
Yeah.
So even, this is a bit of a rip, really.
If you get given this, cut it up and use it. I wouldn't go and buy it.
Yeah. I mean, this is the kit that is being bundled into the new Combat Patrol box. I think you get 2 of them.
Right. These are not very inspiring.
No, they're not. I mean, and look how many shoulder pads you get on the single sprue.
Yeah, it's just a weird number, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you get enough for one small squad of Gravis armor and enough for one small squad of Tacticus armor. It's just no, and look at the shoulder pads as well. They are so generic.
Yeah.
I mean, why bother? Let's have a look at the better one.
This is the older one. This one.
Yes, it is. But each of the shoulder pads, which are completely compatible with Primaris Marines, are unique. So you get the variety built in. You've got 3 different heads in there that you can use on Primaris kits. You've got icons. You've got a plasma pistol and a power sword. That's all compatible with. The only thing on there that isn't compatible is the chest piece, and I'm sure you can chop it up or use some green stuff to.
You could probably make that work somehow.
Yeah, but I mean, I prefer this one.
I mean, I can see why.
It's still $9.50, but at least you could kit out a whole squad with it.
I'm hoping the new one's reasonably priced. I don't know how much the Black Templars one worked out at, but you can imagine it's going to be probably about double the price of this.
Probably.
At the least.
However, I mean, you probably think that that's the last of the upgrade kits.
Yes, I do. Why?
Because there's a Ravenwing one as well.
A Ravenwing one?
There is a Ravenwing one.
Is it on the website?
It's on the website.
I completely missed this when I was searching through.
I mean, it's just a picture of the sprue, which there it is on the left.
That might be why I missed it then. It's just like, a sprue here.
Yep. And
okay.
And so what it's got is stuff to convert normal bikes and land speeders to Ravenwing, which, if it can convert, the old bike kit, it can work just as well on the Outriders, which is what Games Workshop are going to push you to buy.
Yeah, I noticed this is sold out online, so either it's really popular or it's getting discontinued, and we won't know just yet.
We don't know, but there is another secret Dark Angels upgrade kit. Go back to the current Deathwing Terminators.
Deathwing Terminators. So this.
Yep.
Now, this might be a bit hard because a lot of the images seem to be missing.
Okay, scroll down. If you go to the Read More section, it takes you to like a bigger gallery. Read More, scroll down. Yeah, click on the images. Now, because you can build like 3 different units out of this, it has got so many spare parts that if you're doing Terminators, if you're doing Deathwing Terminators, even if you don't use the bodies from this kit, you've got so many accessories. You've got enough to fit an entire squad with storm shields. You've got a Deathwing themed Cyclone missile launcher, Deathwing themed everything.
There's a wide selection.
There is a very wide selection. The new upgrade sprue has like one side of a Storm Bolter with a Dark Angel symbol on it, whereas this you get like I think it's 5 or 6 options.
I can't see probably the other side's got the Dark Angel symbol on them.
I mean they are basically one piece Storm Bolters.
Yes.
But yet they are like separate from the arms, so
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you want to magnetize for various loadouts, which is something that's quite difficult to do with the new kit, it's doable. But if you're doing Deathwing and you want things to look Deathwing, get this kit while it's still around.
Yeah.
The weapons are the right scale. The helmets are the right scale. There's a lot of filigree and extra icons. You've got a cloak in there. You can build characters, like you can build an ancient from it. You could build a new scale Terminator command squad.
Okay.
Now, I don't think the command squad is in the new codex, but it will definitely be a Legends thing. But you could take a Terminator Ancient, so you can make some conversions. Yeah. Apothecary, you got like a champion with like his mace. There's a load of Deathwing themed shoulder pads and Night themed shoulder pads. So yeah, that if you want to do Deathwing upgrades, get the old Deathwing kit while you still can, because that is going to do more to Deathwing up your new scale Terminators than the new upgrade kit will. Rant over.
Okay, there we go. Well, that's our coverage of the Dark Angels then. Tammy obviously had a lot to get off her chest.
I have opinions.
Now, we're going to call it here because my back is going and I need to go take a rest.
Yeah. A nice long rest.
Yep. Thank you very much for listening. We've been Bleeding Tree Gaming. We'll catch you on the next of our Faction Focus videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe and join us on Facebook.
Come join us on Facebook. We're very lonely.
Till the next one. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, God, my back hurts.
Oh, mine too.